So this is Onur Yücegun. I'm an architect, a computational designer, and I have 2 degrees from MIT in design and computation, one being a master's degree, the other one being a PhD degree with a minor in Media Lab. So I'm going to share my experiences and learnings in applying to these programs. This video is for the people who want to apply to a master's program and they don't really know where to start from, or people who know where to start from but they want to learn about best practices while applying to a specific master's program, ideally at a top tier university. And I would like to help you a little bit about your master's or PhD application to pretty much to any university, right? So, and I'm going to talk about the details in terms of maybe applying to a design program, but I think these are mostly really globally applying rules if you are applying to any other degree or any other university than the ones that I'm going to talk about. So as I was finishing my degree in Turkey, and as I was about to receive my Bachelor of Architecture, I applied to, I think, 7 schools at the time, and most of them were in the US, and then one was in Europe. And then I got admitted to most of them, 5 out of 7. And the 2 that didn't accept me were not, as high ranked as the ones that I admitted me. So I'm just saying this as a proof that your value or your probability of being admitted is not that easy to figure out, right? So the assessment of universities will depend on many things, and it would be really hard to figure out what they are. So in this respect, the best thing to do is just to do your best, while applying to these schools, and wait for the end result. But the point is, you have to start early, and you have to have a to-do list as early as possible, right? So that's rule 1. And as you are applying for a master's degree, the school will ask for some materials from you, and earlier you prepare those, more time you will have to revise them later on, and these revisions will count a lot because you can always make better than what you do in the first instance. So let's say there's a list of things that you have to submit, and the best way to learn that is pretty much going to the website of the university and to the specific program that you're trying to apply to. So in my case, the degree I finally got was design and computation, SMARCS degree at MIT. So at the time, what I did was I went to the MIT Department of Architecture website. I found the design and computation group, and then I checked the admissions and admission rules and the list of admission materials that I had to prepare. So some of these would be really specific to the department. Some of them will be specific to the program you're applying. Let's say in my case, it was design and computation. And then some of them will be specific to the school itself, such as the, let's say the language tests, for instance. So if you go over this, list, pretty much what you need to prepare is 1, statement of purpose. I'm going to start with that because it's one of the most important items that you are going to submit if you are applying to a very serious school. And the second thing, of course, you're going to have your list of grades and so on, your GPA, and most of the schools will ask for a language exam scores and maybe GRE. And then if you're applying to a design school, of course, you're going to have a portfolio. And you will say maybe, oh, the portfolio is the most important. Yes, somehow it's important, but I would still put statement of purpose as the top priority, because I saw so many good portfolios, and when you see 20 of them next to each other, none of them are too special, right? So you are looking for like that 5-10% difference, and let's say superiority, compared to your competitors while applying to a school. So maybe portfolio is not that realm that you can gain that 5-10% difference. So yeah, let's go step by step. I think I can go over the list again, and we can go back to the website and check what's really needed. But statement of purpose is really important, and here you can take two, let's say, different approaches, right? So one is that you try to fit in to the program like as much as possible. So to me, this is not too interesting, but it might be the safest path to take, because there's a shape of the department and there's a shape of the program, and if you prove that you're a really strong candidate, a really good student, and you would fit in to the ongoing research, you would have a higher chance of getting in. So the second path is a little more risky, but it's I think I like that path more, because in the second path, what you prove is that you prove that you are unique first. You are very successful, and being successful is not enough for being unique. You are unique in the way that you approach a problem, you solve the problems, and you are successful anyway. And then you prove that you would benefit from being in that program while helping yourself grow, but at the same time contributing to the program. So this is a little like being an entrepreneur, right? So you're not expected to become an entrepreneur maybe at the age of 20 something, right? Early 20s. But if you feel like, doing that, why not? But again, this is, there has to be a way for you to prove your value, show that you are, eager to be in that program specifically for some reason, and you're successful and you can create value, and that environment will help you in doing that. And then, connected to the statement of purpose, ideally you should check the faculty, right? Who is teaching there, what their subject matters are, because there are like multiple people probably dealing with multiple professors, multiple researchers dealing with very, very different subjects, right? So you can find significantly different subjects within the same program, but you should be aware of them, right? While applying, your words and your thoughts shouldn't float in the air. You should rather have a kind of clear target, let's say a target professor that you will work with, or target subject that you want to, let's say, make research on. Again, this information will be on the website, and then you can also look into the publications or the contributions of the professors and researchers. So this is going to again help you see, oh, this is super interesting, so I would like to study on something like this, so I better study with this or that professor. So that's pretty important too. The other way to figure that out is looking at the former graduates, right? So I get a lot of emails, I get lots of people reach out to me because I've been to MIT, and again, I've been to, like, I did my master's degree there, and then I had 5-6 years break before starting my PhD degree, and it was in the same group. So I intentionally wanted to go back to the same group to pursue my PhD degree. So and when people reach out to me, they learn about my personal experience a little bit, but I don't have to talk about my personal experience that much. There might be things or not many things for you to learn there. It's rather talking about the program, it's talking rather about the professors, and it's talking about the structure and how things really work from you enter the program and to the moment that you, let's say, finish the program. So you can find those people online, just googling, looking into their degrees, and you would again realize that people leaving the same or graduating from the same program. Sorry, I had to take that. İyiyim. Bye bye. So pretty much finding those people that graduate from the program that you would like to apply to will help you understand what these people really do after they finish their degree, right? So if those are interesting for you, if those lists of achievements or job descriptions they are working on are interesting for you, you can also pursue that. Or you can write your own job descriptions, right, one day, which is a great, let's say, opportunity if you ever have it. So, and then all this learning, why are we looking for all these professors, people, and so on and so forth? All that information can be consolidated in your mind, so you can use that information in your statement of purpose. So this is more like, it's not only it's not only talking about, hey, I did this, I did that, I want to study this. It's rather kind of like putting all that together, but framing it with the knowledge that you gain by looking at those people, right? So once you know about them, that is the context, and then you are what you know is the content. Let's say you can kind of like reformulate it to align with that frame. And again, aligning is not necessarily taking the shape of the bottle. Of course, you're going to have your own personal goals and inputs in whatever you are trying to do. And while writing this, again, how much weight you put into this will determine what sort of application you're making, right? So if you put too much weight on what is already existent, then you almost become invisible. You just become any successful person who can just go there and keep working on something. It should be in the way that you talk about yourself, but say that, hey, I'll be a responsive creature, learning from the environment but also contributing to it. So that's your statement of purpose. Talk about your achievements. Talk about your significant achievements, like if you won an award. But it shouldn't be like name dropping. Only I won this, I won that. Explain why it's valuable. You don't have to win an award. Maybe you have been creating a lot of value and it was never recognized, right? So that might be another way to talk about this thing. You can say, hey, I truly believe in this. I truly believe there's a lot of value in this, but so far I couldn't find so far I couldn't find a chance to work on this, to create that value, make it explicit, make it visible. And then you say, I believe attending this program will help me finally take it out and show it to the world, right? So that's a very strong kind of application that you can make. So statement of purpose, it's not a letter, it's not a text that you have to write. It should be kind of like coming out of your gut, and it has to be strong, so make it strong. And if you want to read more about this, I have an article on Medium, which is entitled Do You Really Need a PhD Degree? But it applies to both master's and PhD. It tells you whether or not it is time for you to apply for a program. Okay, so just go read that, and it's going to help you clear your mind, but at the same time it's going to help you formulate your statement of purpose in a better way. Okay, grades. This is going to be fast. If you have good grades, you're a good student, but having a good grades doesn't mean that you are too special. Okay, there are many people who can get really good grades, and getting good grades at school can be a part of like having really great skills, or just doing whatever was needed, right? So if there's a scale of grades, and if you had to be in the top 10% while delivering those things, you can just deliver them. If you are able to, you can just deliver them and you can just get those grades and you're done, right? So, or vice versa, maybe you work on something really hard and you can't do it, right? You get a C. Or there are some subjects that you really need to do and you don't really like, and you can't, of course, you don't like something. It's very hard to be successful in that thing. I know it really well. And you wouldn't just go to the class, or you don't want to take the exam, you take the exam, you hate it, and so on. Again, you get a C or like whatever, or like lower, right? So I'm just kind of like talking about grades, but they don't mean anything. Again, so grades mean a little bit, but not as much as you think, right? Or we thought, at the time, because it's one of the measurement systems. They try to quantify your skills, but not everything, not all qualities can be quantified, right? So in that respect, you can have lower grades, but still a very, like, let's say one of the top 10 universities still may get you with 2.8 GPA over 4. I really saw that. It really happens. And I really love that because that person, let's say, a person can prove their value through other items, other materials, and grades are just an obstacle for him or her. So don't think about that much. And actually, good schools really don't care about grades that much, either. Like MIT, for instance, clearly indicated on their website when I applied. I said, hey, you can submit your, you can submit your grades, but you don't have to. That was it, right? So for my case, I was a little spoiled. I was the top student in the school, so it was easier for me. I didn't have to think about it. I had the maximum number there. But again, some schools rejected me, and I don't know how much MIT cared because I had some other items that were more valuable for me in my application. And which brings me to the portfolio. So the portfolio, again, I mean, it's about design, right? So portfolio is about design. One maybe keyword about the portfolio is that make it accessible. Accessible meaning you have to design something, you have to put your content, you put your previous work together in the way that the person looking into it doesn't spend too much time trying to understand what's really going on, doesn't spend too much time getting into the material that you're kind of trying to present. So in this respect, it can be really thin, it can be really simple, one page, one photograph, 10 pages, maybe something like that would work. Or something really thick and heavy, but if it's a mess, it's going to be a mess, right? So if you're making a 120-page portfolio, which was something I had at the time, make it like a very coherent book. Make it make sure that the page 1, page 55, and page 74, and page 100, they're all from the same realm. They're all speaking the same language with same intention and so on. So it's a good design, right? So I would make one of these things, right? So some schools, most of the schools will have a page limit for your application, but make sure that you're kind of like more or less respecting that, but at the same time, more importantly, you are making your content special and explicit so people can see and understand what you are made of internally, right? So your work, your exposure to the world is pretty much the collection of what you create, or just affects what you create at the end. And what else? Well, fourth item now is the exams, right? So TOEFL, GRE. If you are applying to, I'm just giving a second to this little single cylinder motorcycle here to pass by. There are lots of them around here. 150 cc, maybe 100 cc, very small. Okay, and the fourth item is the exams that you need to take. Again, these will vary depending on the school that you're applying to, or the master's program that you're applying to. Some school would ask for TOEFL, some would ask for other language exams, maybe GRE, or some technical schools or technical programs may ask for GMAT and so on and so forth, right? So my recommendation would be taking these exams as soon as possible, like even before you start checking anything else, right? So look at the program, just make your appointment and take these exams and be done with them, okay? And again, you have to start everything as early as possible anyway. We talked about this. And the fifth item is letter of recommendation. So you're going to go back to the people that you work with, your professors or your former teachers, and you're going to ask for a recommendation. Or these people also might be the people you work with professionally in the field, and who are aware of your skill set and who are aware of your eagerness to pursue a master's degree. So this is somehow crucial because you have to also be very cautious and careful about this. Make sure that you are asking for those letters from the right people. So the people who are knowledgeable about the program that you are applying to would definitely be helpful. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be that way. Try to pick people who really somehow trust and believe in you, right? So it's not the letter shouldn't be just acknowledging your skills or your former success. It should be like, okay, I really truly believe, if you take this student, you're not going to regret that. Actually, maybe it's beyond that. Let's say the recommender is not going to use the word regret. He or she is going to say, take him, take her. You will thank me later, Okay, this was a little too much, but I saw recommendations letters similar to that. Sometimes it turns people off, so the recommender has to be really careful too. But okay, back to the subject. So what you need to do is, find the right person to write the recommendation letter for you. So one mistake that students do is, okay, I said I applied to 7 master's degrees. You cannot ask from one single professor to write 7 letters. This just doesn't make sense, because you would wear thin his or her, belief in you, simply, and also his or her, energy in writing the letter for you, especially in PhD. If you're applying to a PhD degree, your the recommendation letter that's being written to you should be written by someone who dedicates quite a significant amount of time in writing that letter, right? So that person needs to believe in you and shouldn't be writing 7 slightly different variations of the same letter. You should ask 1 or maybe 2 letters from that person for your, let's say, top professors who you work with or who believes in you. So then he or she can really concentrate on writing that letter for you. You can have, you can ask for more, but believe me that as you ask more, you are not going to get much, right? The quantity increases, the quality decreases. I wrote a lot of, recommendation letters for people as well. And I've read a lot of them too, because I was in selection committees, and you can quickly see what a recommender is doing for the applicant, right? So they're like, oh, I have to write this, so, I don't want to say that, I don't want to say people do that, but, if you're putting too much pressure on someone, it's just not useful, okay? And ideally, try to use the time of the person who is writing the recommendation letter for you like your time. Treat her time or his time as if it's your time that you're using, okay? So that's gonna make everything easier. And find the right person. Again, don't shoot like in a blind way to say, hey, can you write a recommendation letter for me? Find the right person for that. So, okay, we pretty much covered everything. We talked about okay, we pretty much talked about the very central items, the materials that you're going to submit while applying to a PhD or master's program, and this video is mostly about the master's program. If you want to hear about the The differences between applying to a master's and PhD, I'm covering that in another video. You can probably find the link below. But for the master's application, the list you have, I think I went through over a 5-item list. Statement of purpose, list of your grades and GPA, the portfolio, the exams you need to take before applying to the school, and finally the letter of recommendation, and however many you need from people. Start early, okay? I cannot stress this enough. I'm gonna just say it once again, all together. Start as early as possible. For my master's application, I was checking schools 18 months prior to my application, and before even I started, even before 6 months prior to the application, I was very aware of what was going to happen as I was applying. Start early, take the exams, TOEFL, GRE, and so on and so forth, as early as possible. So if you have to study for them as well, you need to start 2 years before your application. I don't want to exaggerate it. And I don't even know if the grades expire in 2 years, but check the expiration date of, let's say, TOEFL, GRE grades and apply. Make your appointment according to that. Start early, check the school websites, take your exams, start working on your portfolio. One last thing I want to say maybe about the portfolio, a little addition about the portfolio is that make it, when I said make it accessible, also make it online, right? I mean, this is the rule now. Everything is online anyway. And if it is online, don't make it static pages. Just, make animated GIFs or make videos and so on. People find those really, really, let's say, relatable, so they understand more from moving things. Keep that in mind, okay? And then you get your portfolio going, and that's done. And again, try to, let's say, have these concentrated work with 1 or 2 professors, so then probably they will help you also in the future while you're applying to these degrees. And that's it, right? Do not try to assess your own value before applying to the program. This is the top priority, right? So you would guess, oh, will I ever get into this school? Are they going to admit me? I shouldn't apply to this school because it's in top 10 and they would never take me. No, don't think that way. There are a lot of others, your competitors, who are thinking that I can definitely get into this school, and they make it. Probably are better than them, okay? So don't forget this, okay? You have to try first to figure out. Try it, and then let it, to the people to call the, make the call and, make the decision about your application. And if you cannot make it to the place that you want to go, it's for a reason, right? So you keep trying, take your second option, third option, create other options, right? So never give up. Just keep applying. So it's a better idea to assess, your own value before you make your application and send that package away. So with that, good luck. Definitely keep trying, start early, and believe that you will be successful. That's how everything starts.